what's going on, guys? Welcome back to episode 2 of How to Run Your Own Business. Today we're going to be covering how to have a successful meeting with a client. Okay, so before we get into today's video, if you're new to this channel, welcome. Feel free to hit the subscribe button below, and once you've watched the video, if you like it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. But I started this series to kind of give people like you that are watching this video a kind of insight onto how to run your own business from the perspective of someone that, you know, hasn't been doing it for 10 or 20 years, or, you know, it's kind of like new to it and fresh and current. And that's kind of what I'm trying to get across to you guys here, is that someone like me, a 21-year-old from Lincoln, which is like a small city in the UK, can sufficiently run their own business and live from the earnings from that, if that makes any sort of sense. So I've been running my own business properly since I was about 18 years old. I'm now 21, and I've been running this business for the last sort of couple of years, and it's kind of picked itself up within the last year. And that's kind of how it works when you're on your own business. It kind of takes a lot of time to get the ball rolling with everything. So when I started, I did a lot of work for free, which is something I covered in the last video. And once I'd done that, the client that I worked for then passed my name on to someone else, and so on and so forth. Word of mouth spread, and people kind of came to me for more work in the future, and I'm still getting jobs from that very person now. But if you want to know a little bit more, make sure to check out the previous video. It's in the description below, so go check that out, and maybe watch that one before you watch this one. But anyway, moving on with the video, today we're going to be talking about how to have a successful meeting with a client, and hopefully how to keep that track record going in the future. Okay, so I woke up this morning with the idea of filming this video, so I kind of sat down, had some breakfast, had a coffee, and kind of figured out and planned what I'm going to say in this video, so hopefully this one goes a little bit more fluently. So I'm going to list 4 main key points in this video, and then one kind of like little Easter egg at the end of the video as well. So the points are as follows. Number 1, how you greet your client. Number 2, your appearance, how you dress and come across to the client to start with. Number 3, caring about your client and their problems and what you are going to do to solve those things. Number 4, preparing to fail. And then number 5, the little Easter egg at the end, that'll come at the end. Okay, so number 1, your greeting. This is something that is, it's like that classic thing where it says your handshake tells a lot about a person. And in some extent, that's actually quite true. So when I'm greeting a client, I find it important to sort of ask how their day is going, how they're like feeling, and just kind of be quite bubbly and positive as it goes anyway. So a good example of this is, say if you're going to the supermarket, you just picked up all your shopping and you're going towards the checkout to pay for what you've just got. So when the person comes across a lot more positive and bubbly, you automatically feel very sort of welcomed and almost happy within yourself as it is. Whereas if the person is negative and kind of just dull and down and kind of like, oh, I don't want to be at work today, you automatically feel kind of like, oh, well, this is crap. I need to get out of here as soon as I can. And that's the same when you're meeting with clients. So I don't go and meet with clients and be like, oh, yeah, right, can we just get this over and done with, please? What do you need doing? What can I do? What can I do to help? That is the last thing I want to do when I'm meeting a client. Instead, it's a lot more logical to kind of approach a client very positive, smiley, happy and bubbly. Even if you're not specifically feeling that way that day, it's very, very important to come across that way and kind of almost fake it at least. So when I'm meeting a client, I tend to go in with some sort of handshake of some form. It's a good kind of way to break the ice and say hello and kind of like get the ball rolling on the rest of the meeting. Just saying small little icebreakers like, how's your day been? How was your travel down here? All those kind of things. They're great ways to break the ice when meeting with a client. Okay, so moving on to number 2. This is probably one of the most important things. Your appearance. And that sounds kind of weird, and it kind of sounds a bit stereotypical and annoying to some people, and I get that, I totally do, but unfortunately it definitely is a thing. So you always get things in shops like stereotypical profiling. So say if you're wearing a hoodie and you're wearing a hat, you're automatically classed as a thief, and people have to chase after those people, and that's how it goes. And the same kind of goes for business, but it kind of differs when it comes to different areas of work. So if I see someone having a meeting in a suit, I automatically think they're not very creative. Not in a horrible way, but in the back of my head, something goes, they're not massively creative, you know, they're wearing a suit, and that doesn't show much of your personality, I don't think anyway. Whereas if you're wearing something that expresses you as a person, I think in a creative industry like this that I'm doing, so whether it's to do with film or photography or graphic design or something like that, wearing something that is yourself and who you feel comfortable being comes across a lot better to a client. Whether that's, you know, just a casual t-shirt or a shirt or something funky, whatever. If it's you and if it's something you feel comfortable in, it's going to come across a lot more comfy and relaxed to the client, if that kind of makes sense. So I tend to wear something like what I'm wearing now. I'm just wearing a pair of black skinny jeans, a nice t-shirt, and some sort of necklace of some form. And maybe if I'm feeling very, very professional, I might wear some fake glasses like this, which I know sometimes people think look a bit ridiculous, but sometimes they just top off the outfit that little bit and give it a little bit of finesse, as it were. Okay, so a lot of people don't have the budget to go out and get nice clothes, and you really don't have to have the budget to get nice clothes. The jeans I'm wearing today are from Primark. They're £10 and they are probably the best pair of skinny jeans I've ever worn in my life. This t-shirt I'm wearing today is an All Saints t-shirt, which are generically a really expensive brand, but I got it from a charity shop 2 days ago for £1.99. So I really highly recommend going to thrift stores, charity shops, secondhand shops, whatever you want to call them, and just kind of trying to find cheap t-shirts, cheap shirts, jumpers, jackets, whatever, and just go in there and see what you can find. I've had so many jackets and found so many jackets in charity shops for like 25p or 50p or like £3-4, and you really don't have to spend that much to have like a really, really nice looking outfit. When I'm wearing shoes to a meeting, I tend to just go with whatever's comfiest. I always wear Yeezys anyway, so I mostly wear Yeezys, and I kind of try and colour match it to something I'm wearing, so nothing OTT, I'd say. So what I'm trying to say is it's important to come across as yourself. It's important to be who you want to be and come across relaxed and comfortable to the client. That's as simple as I can put it. But at the same time, just take care of yourself. That's all it is. And that's something I've realised recently, actually, if anything. Lauren cut my hair the other day, did a really nice job, really nice and clean cut on the sides, and then kind of like shorter on the top because it was getting well out of hand. And that's kind of when I realised, like, right, I really need to sort something out. Number 3, which is caring about the client. So this is something that sounds really weird, but it is actually really important. So it's good for the client to feel like you care about them and you care about what their problem is and you care about what they want and what they want from you. And it's a very simple thing to do, and it's just one of those sort of standard human traits, hopefully. But showing you care to the client can come across in many different ways. One of the main things, and which is probably very obvious, but a lot of people forget, is try not to get distracted by other things that happen around you. Try to keep your eyes focused on the client at all time. Try and empathize with the client as well. So try and kind of feel them on an emotional level as well. So try and understand what they want from you and what they're feeling at that point, whether they're happy or sad or whatever. So say if they're telling you something about their business and why they are needing something from you, kind of go, okay, right, I see what you mean. I'm sure we can sort something out. That's great, blah, blah, blah. Just very simple things. It's just like a human trait that a lot of people forget. So a few little key points in this are: keep your eyes on the client at all time. Do not get distracted by other things because it just doesn't end well. And try and treat the client how you'd like to be treated if you were going to somewhere. So say if you were going to the dentist and you were telling them about your problem, about your toothache, blah, blah, blah. If they're looking at their computer or looking at their phone or being distracted or kind of their concentration is elsewhere, you're automatically going to be like, holy crap, I don't want this person to go in my mouth. That sounded so wrong. God, I don't want but you get the point. Okay, the third one, and probably the most important thing for a successful meeting, is preparing to fail. Okay, so preparing to fail is just as simple as it sounds. It's basically coming up with a plan A, and if they don't like plan A, avert to plan B, that kind of thing. Pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory, but it's something that a lot of people don't even think about before they go into a meeting or even during. So say for instance, I'm going to a meeting with a client and they are wanting a website, and I know this because of previous emails or messages or phone calls that we've had in the past. I tend to go to the meeting with 2 different plans. So it's probably going to go something like this. They'll probably say, look, I'm looking for this kind of website, blah, 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 blah. You tell them, look, this is the idea I've come with, this is what I'm planning to do for you, and this is kind of what I want to go down the route of. And they sometimes go, oh, brilliant, that's great. Or they kind of have their own ideas and their own sort of things in their head, and you kind of have to either roll with that, or if you really think that's not a good route for them to go down, you kind of have to use your expertise to kind of educate them on why your idea is potentially a better idea than theirs. So a lot of people, when it comes to running a business, they want their website, but they don't have any sort of creative direction or, you know, or a keen eye for design. And that's something that you have to then come up with. And that's why they've hired you for your service. This is just an example, by the way. This is something that I have to deal with, and you can kind of correlate that to what you're trying to do in your area of work. So sometimes I have clients come to me saying, look, this is the kind of website I want this kind of thing. I want it to have these kind of colorways and this kind of scheme, and I sometimes have to go, okay, that looks great. This is what I had in mind, and the reasons for this are as follows. and you kind of have to say, the reason I've gone with this design, the reason I've gone with this idea is because currently the style of websites and how people are laying things out and how people are advertising is going in this direction, and they're almost kind of coming in another direction from a couple of years ago, and it's important to stay with today's times as it is, kind of that, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Okay, so the last and final nugget of information is trial and error. It's just one of those things where meetings and work and basically anything to do with running your own business is mostly trial and error. It's something where you have to try it, fail, learn from it and grow. It's that simple equation. And something that goes alongside that is just not being scared to try something new. So you have to, try a different method in a meeting, maybe, approach the client in a different way or come across in a different way, and you have to try that, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and you can put that down as something that doesn't work, and you can try something new in the future. We have to trial and error all the time, and it's just something that you always have to do. I still do it, and I will probably do it forever. No one's ever going to get to that perfect level. You're always going to mess up, and you're always going to make wrong decisions that you kind of learn from and then do not make in the future. And that's just the way, that's just how it goes. Make a mistake and learn from it. It's very simple, and it's something that you can relate to pretty much everything, whether that's life or business or relationships or anything, whatever it is. Trial and error, making a mistake and learning from it, that's just how it is. Okay, so that's all for today, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you want me to go over any of the tips specifically in greater detail, let me know in the comment section below. If you've enjoyed this video, feel free to smash the like button. Also, share it if you think anyone's going to benefit from watching the video. And above all else, subscribe and maybe turn those little notifications on so you get a quick notification every time I upload a video, and you can be one of the first people to watch the video. But yeah, that's been episode 2 of How to Run Your Own Business, and we have covered today how to have a successful meeting with a client. I hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. I will catch you in the next one. Peace.